You know how when you're having just a terrible day, or you have some tragic event happen in your life, you'll tell people about it and they'll be like, oh, don't worry, things will get better next year. And it's something that a lot of us mistakenly do because we confuse being a positive communicator with being a powerful communicator. Being a powerful communicator does not mean that I simply focus on positive things and only speak positive words. Sometimes I have to tell you what happened. That is terrible. You know, so the first thing I want to do when I'm being empathetic is I want to verbalize to you, I understand what happened to you or what you're saying stinks. It's awful. Number two, I want to tell you, however, I am here for you. And number three, I want to tell you, I will be there for you if this keeps happening. That's it. Like, those are the three things I want to say. What? That stinks. You know, that's terrible that you have to endure this personal tragedy. But I want you to know I'm here, and I will be here for you if this happens to you again, or if this keeps happening to you. Those are really the three things I want to convey as an empathetic communicator. But physically, if you give someone the tap and tilt, whew, way better than a don't worry. Okay, pretend like you have an invisible stack of books in front of you and grab them, okay? Like, you want to hold them together so they don't fall, okay? You're holding them in a vertical fashion. And then pass them to somebody, pass them forward. Watch how when you see politicians, again, I like to use them as examples because they have to learn this stuff. They'll be delivering a message, and they want the person with whom they're speaking to believe that what I'm telling you is not my opinion. It's based on research and facts. That's when they say, this is going to be the solution that'll work for you. You can trust me, I know what I'm talking about. When you pass the books, when you have your hands in a parallel fashion and you move them forward as you deliver your message, the people that you are communicating with are going to believe that whatever you're saying is based on research and facts, not you're just making it up and whistling Dixie. Okay, when you are delivering a benefit statement, it's all about right brain activation. And a lot of people in here are in sales. A benefit statement sounds like so that you or so you can. If you can deliver a benefit statement as you deliver a no, you will be considered, both consciously and subconsciously, a master communicator. And being a master communicator is really all about practice. I mean, it really is. I think most of us here have had certain situations that we struggle with. When I was little, when I was in 4th grade, you'll see my first book that is called Energy Vampire Slaying 101 is dedicated to Stuart Stockmo. And Stuart Stockmo was the bully that bullied me back in like 3rd grade. And yeah, I know, thank you very much for that empathetic grunt. And he used to sit behind me and he would push my desk forward. I was in the front row because I was the littlest, and so he'd always push me forward, till I was really, really in front of the class. And I used to go home and I'd always say, Mom, Stuart Stockmo is bullying me today, and what do I say and what do I do? And she'd say, all right, Daniel, you say this to him the next time. And she would give me phrases and she would give me things that I could go back and use the next day to help overcome this situation. And eventually I did. And it's funny because I saw Stuart Stockmo, I thought it was a joke. He called me up, I was working with a friend, and he called me up and he said, hi, this is Stuart Stockmo, I'm selling yada, yada, yada. And I said, no way, this is not Stuart Stockmo. And he's like, okay, I don't know what that's about, but yes. And he kept talking. And I told him I said, did you know that you are literally, my book is dedicated to you as my first Energy Vampire Slayer. He had no idea who I was. No, he did not recognize me or remember me at all. And I thought, oh my gosh, it is totally true. It is all about me. Everything, all these 40 years I've been holding on to the Stuart Stockman. He has no idea who I am. But thanks, and thanks, Mom, for giving me the words. But when you practice, when you just take a moment, as my mom helped me do, to practice, don't just say first thing into the brain, first thing out of the mouth. That is reacting. And if you are in the reaction mode and you are doing what people commonly do, you will get common results. You just will. If you say the same thing to Stuart Stockmo as you said yesterday, you will have the same experience as you had yesterday. But if you can just change your words, learn a couple new tricks, put some new tricks up your sleeve, you will have a totally different experience tomorrow from the results that we're getting today. So thank you all for spending the afternoon with me. It was a great pleasure. Thank you all very much. Tracy, at home, Tracy, do you have any communication challenges that you struggle with at home, or right now is it going pretty good? Daily, right? Most of us do. We struggle communicating both at work and at home daily, but most people don't admit it. And so if we acknowledge that and say, okay, at home, for example, one thing you can do to make huge strides in your communication with your kids or your spouse or your significant other, your boyfriend or your girlfriend, is keep a danger phrase and a power phrase list visible, because human beings are visual communicators. If you can put your danger phrase and power phrase list like on your refrigerator or on your kitchen wall at home, and instead of saying, for example, a lot of us use the danger phrase, you make me. Like we'll say, you make me so mad when you say that to me, or that makes me feel so terrible. But if we replace the you make me, which is a danger phrase, with a really simple 3-part verbal pattern, like I have to tell you this one. Hold on a minute. Hold on. What's your name there with the beard? Matthias. Matthias, you look like a sensitive guy. Do you watch Oprah every day, Matthias? Say yes. Yes, you do. Yes, I know. I know it's on the OWN network now. She's in reruns, but Matthias were like that. So you know how sometimes it's difficult, for example, for me to properly express when I'm angry with somebody. And Matthias, I'm going to save you thousands of dollars right now in relationship counseling sessions if you have not yet had these sessions, okay? The first of many relationship counseling sessions tend to strive to simply teach us how to use this 3-part verbal pattern. It's the hamburger. Say this out loud with me. When you, I feel, because. Say that. When you, I feel. When you can simply say, when you, I feel, because, you can connect on an emotional level, with the right-hand side of somebody's brain, as opposed to using the danger phrase, you make me or that makes me, which tends to make somebody defensive and increase their self-talk. We talk to ourselves all the time. We don't think in abstract thoughts. And I want to use phrases that slow down self-talk and connect with the emotional side of the brain sometimes. And when I can replace you make me so mad when you do that, with a when you, I feel, because, and say, Matthias, when you, or is it Matthias? Is that right? Matthias, when you call me a name like that in front of our friends, I feel embarrassed and humiliated because it reminds me of when I was name-called in the playground as a child. When you say things like that, people are like, oh my gosh, why didn't you tell me that? And they feel, what you're trying to express to them, as opposed to when you use you make me or that makes me phrases, it just creates more self-talk and people become defensive. But I have to learn that. And so if you keep a danger phrase and a power phrase list around, and instead of, for example, simply saying to somebody, it really bothers me when you call me names or whatever it is, if you write that on a list and keep it someplace visible, you will see differences in the way you communicate with that person. And I talk a lot about at home because the same thing will work for us at work. For example, if you have to manage a group of people, simply telling them how to communicate with your customers is not going to be as effective as it would be if they have visual cues, and visual reminders around, whether it's in front of them on their desk or whether it's on the wall. Does anybody shop at Zappos online? Anybody shop at Zappos? Okay. What's your name? Michelle. Michelle, have you ever called their customer service department? Okay, Michelle. We're friends, right? Okay. How did you feel when you hung up the phone? Say incredible, Michelle. Incredible, right? Yeah. Outstanding. Do you actually remember talking to them, Michelle? Do you? Do you really? The number one goal of Zappos that I've taken from them, the tip that I've taken from them is, I've worked with a lot of different phone centers, and phone centers generally have grading cards where they grade their representatives, and did you say this, and how long did it take, and did you, repeat the company name 3 times? The only thing that Zappos grades their employees on in their customer service department is, did you make the personal emotional connection? Did you create the PEC? Did you connect with that person on an emotional level? Because that's the most important thing these days in business, as opposed to, we're changing, right, Michelle, in our mindset in business. It's the global mindset is changing now, and we are now trying to connect with one another more and more because of the technology that we have. that is supposed to bring us together, people are feeling more and more isolated every day, and I'm sure we all know what we're talking about. We're trying to activate, oh, Matthias, you know what I'm talking about because you watch Oprah, with the vagus nerve that goes from, right, Matthias? The vagus nerve that goes from our brain down to our belly button makes us feel and gives us a feeling of connection when we're with another person, and we're trying to activate that, so many of us, in the wrong ways. We're using social networks and things that really don't activate that vagus nerve. And if I can create the PEC, the personal emotional connection with somebody, I have a leg up. You know, I have an advantage over the professional communicator who doesn't. And so if instead of saying to somebody while we're on the telephone, you know, oh, just a minute, this computer is so slow today, or oh, just a minute, if I have a visual reminder in front of me, and I have a danger phrase list that says our computers are slow on it, and it triggers me to switch to the other side and remember to say something that, you know, begins with, use a starter phrase that begins with, say why